Last night you climbed into bed feeling perfectly normal. No tightness in your chest, no lightheadedness, no red flags whatsoever. And still, while you were drifting in and out of dreams, your brain might have been struggling with limited oxygen supply. Not from any illness, not from any pill you're taking, but purely because of the precise position your head had settled into the moment you shut your eyes. I want you to listen closely here because what I'm going to reveal has zero connection to what you eat, zero connection to how often you move, and chances are your physician has never mentioned it to you, not once, during any visit. My name is Eric Sanat, and across the years I've spent going through cardiovascular and neurological studies for people in their 60s, 70s, and well beyond, I've noticed one quiet trend that hardly anyone in conventional medicine ever discusses out in the open. The way you lie down, the tilt of your neck, which side your body is turned toward, the alignment of your spine, all of these are constantly shaping how effectively blood travels to your brain throughout the entire night. And here's the detail that freezes most people in place. Stroke risk reaches its highest point in the morning hours after you wake, climbing 49% between 6 a.m. and noon, fueled by the morning blood pressure spike. That's not random luck. And whatever takes place in the hours leading up to that danger zone, how you slept, the posture you held, whether your body actually managed to recover overnight, directly shapes how exposed your cardiovascular system is when that surge arrives. So before you brush this off and tell yourself, I've slept like this forever, I'm asking you to stick with me. In the next 18 minutes, I'll walk you through 6 sleep mistakes ranked from quietly damaging to truly threatening, and afterward I'll share 2 research-supported positions that could genuinely help your brain and your heart starting tonight. But first, do me a quick favor right now. Leave a comment below and let me know, are you a back sleeper, a side sleeper, or a stomach sleeper? I'll be coming back to all 3 throughout this video, and your answer is going to become important very soon. Let me lay out a little background before we dive into the list, because grasping the why is what's going to tie everything together. When you're younger, in your 20s and 30s, your blood vessels stay flexible. They expand, they adjust, they make up for problems on their own. Even when you sleep in some twisted shape, your cardiovascular system silently corrects the issue. You wake up with a sore neck, and that's typically where the story ends. But here's what shifts after 60. The walls of your arteries start to harden. The tiny vessels supplying your brain lose some of their give. The pressure inside your skull becomes more reactive to shifts in body posture, and the system that keeps your blood pressure balanced, the one running quietly in the background, slows down its response time, especially during the night. Doctors refer to this as nighttime blood pressure dipping. People who sleep well experience a natural 10 to 20% reduction in blood pressure overnight. This is a defense mechanism. This is your body restoring itself. But when your sleep position is off, when it's pinching the wrong vessels, blocking the wrong airways, or pushing your circulation in the wrong direction, that natural protective dip gets thrown off, and what takes its place is something far less kind. That's the foundation I want you to keep in mind for everything coming next. All right, let's get into the list. Before we go further, share your name and where you're tuning in from. I look at every comment and I genuinely want to know who I'm reaching today. Mistake number 1, lying completely flat with no head lift at all. Let's begin with something so ordinary it's almost shocking that it could create any issue. Sleeping totally flat, no pillow or just a really thin one. Body stretched out fully horizontal, spine theoretically straight. It sounds perfect, doesn't it? Physical therapy sites celebrate it. Mattress brands build entire ad campaigns around it. But there's an essential angle nobody ever shows you. When you stretch out completely flat, especially after 60, blood doesn't redistribute the way it would in a younger body. Without gravity giving you any assistance, cerebrospinal fluid, the liquid that protects your brain inside the skull, can pool. Intracranial pressure ticks slightly upward. The microscopic vessels inside your brain that already deal with years of slow wear are now sitting under a bit more stress than they should be for 7 or 8 straight hours. A study released in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine showed that even a modest tilt of the head, around 15 degrees, produced measurable improvements in intracranial pressure and overnight blood flow patterns. Now here's the symptom that most people read entirely wrong. You wake up at 3 a.m. with a steady throbbing pressure in your head, maybe behind your eyes, maybe at the bottom of your skull. You shrug and think, I'm just getting older, headaches happen. You sip some water, maybe pop an ibuprofen, and lie back down. But what if that headache is your brain's way of telling you the pressure inside is climbing too high, and has been for hours? The solution here isn't complicated: a 15-degree elevation of your upper body. I'll walk you through how to achieve that safely toward the end of the video. But first, let me bring up something even more pointed. Mistake number 2, stomach sleeping, the position that twists everything. Here's one that almost always catches people off guard because stomach sleeping seems like it should be totally fine. You're not pressing weight on your heart. You're not squeezing your lungs. You're just lying face down. What's the harm? The harm is your neck. When you sleep on your stomach, you can't physically breathe straight into the mattress. So what do? You twist your head to one side, almost always the same side, every single night, because we're built around habit. Now think about what that actually does to your structure. Your neck is rotated up to 90 degrees for 7, 8, sometimes 9 hours every night. And along the sides of your cervical spine, the bones running through your neck, sit 2 arteries called the vertebral arteries. These vessels deliver blood directly to your brainstem, your cerebellum, and the regions of your brain that handle balance, breath regulation, and coordination. When your neck is heavily rotated to one side for extended periods, these arteries can get pinched. Picture stepping on a garden hose. The flow doesn't shut off completely, but it gets squeezed. And reduced flow to your brainstem for 8 hours a night, year after year, isn't something your body just brushes off. A study published in the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics confirmed that extreme cervical rotation noticeably reduces vertebral artery blood flow speed. The original focus of the study was chiropractic adjustment, but the anatomical principle carries straight over to long-held sleep positions. There's also a second issue with stomach sleeping that affects how you breathe. Your rib cage is mashed into the mattress. Every breath all night is a battle against compression. Your diaphragm can't drop fully. You never reach full tidal volume, the deepest, most restorative breath your lungs are designed to take. Reduced oxygen per breath, restricted artery flow, both occurring at the same time. For a 35-year-old, the body works around it. For a 68-year-old with any background of high blood pressure or cardiovascular concerns, this becomes a slow-building problem stacking up silently in the dark. If you're still here and finding this useful, type 2 in the comments. It lets me know you're tracking with me and getting something from this. Mistake number 3, piling several pillows beneath your head. I want to stay around the neck for one more minute because the next mistake is one people commit with the best intentions, and it leads to a similar issue through an entirely different path. Stacking pillows, 2, 3, sometimes 4, all wedged under your head. People do this for understandable reasons: acid reflux, sinus drainage, trouble breathing, snoring. And a small bit of elevation does help with some of those concerns. I'm not denying that. But here's what unfolds when that elevation goes too far. Your head gets shoved forward sharply, your chin tilts down toward your chest, and that forward bend of the neck, what clinicians call cervical flexion, is the exact angle that compresses the vertebral arteries we just discussed, but this time from the front. There's also a third vessel that gets ignored in this conversation: the internal jugular vein. This vein is your brain's main drainage route. It carries used, deoxygenated blood back down from your brain toward your heart. When your neck is bent forward too sharply, that jugular drainage path becomes partially blocked. Blood drains less smoothly. Pressure inside the skull slowly climbs, and your brain's overnight ability to clear out metabolic waste gets compromised. You may notice this the next morning as foggy thinking, a heavy sensation behind the eyes, that maddening feeling of waking up after 8 hours of sleep and still feeling drained. You're not lazy. Your brain may have literally been swollen with fluid through the night. The fix? One pillow. One properly shaped pillow. Ideally a memory foam cervical pillow that mirrors the natural arch of your neck rather than forcing your head into an angle. Many of the people I've worked with have told me their morning headaches vanished within a week of making this single switch. One pillow. That's it. Before I move on, if this is helping you rethink how you sleep, do me a small favor and tap the like button. It helps this kind of practical content reach more people who keep waking up tired and can't figure out why. And tell me in the comments, how many pillows are you sleeping on right now? 1, 2, or more? I read every comment, and I'm genuinely curious how widespread this habit is. Mistake number 4, right side sleeping with a cardiovascular history. Now we're stepping into territory that's going to surprise quite a few of you, because side sleeping in general gets ranked as one of the better positions, and for most people, it absolutely is. But, and this is a big but, the side you face matters more than most people realize. Your heart sits a little to the left of center inside your chest. It has a natural orientation, and when you lie on your right side, gravity pulls your heart slightly off its ideal resting alignment. Even more importantly, your body weight presses down on the right side of your torso, and the inferior vena cava, one of the largest veins in your body, runs straight through that area. The inferior vena cava has a single job: bring blood from everything below your waist, your legs, your abdomen, your digestive organs, back up to your heart. When you squash that vein by sleeping on your right side, the return flow gets restricted. Your heart now has to work against reduced preload, meaning it's pulling harder than it should just to fill each chamber properly. For someone in good health, this gets compensated for easily, but for somebody over 60 dealing with borderline heart performance, mild heart failure, or chronic high blood pressure, the heart is already operating close to its maximum. Adding nightly resistance you don't need is like running your car's engine 10% harder every single night for years on end. The cumulative damage is real. The European Journal of Heart Failure published findings showing that people with heart failure naturally and instinctively avoided sleeping on their right side. Their bodies had already picked up on the discomfort before their conscious minds figured out why. That instinct is worth paying attention to. If you commented "right side sleeper" earlier, this section was written for you. Stay with me because the solution at the end is going to address this head-on. Mistake number 5. Sleeping curled up in a tight fetal ball. The fetal position, knees pulled into the chest, shoulders rounded inward, chin tucked. For many people, especially women over 60, this is the default fallback. It feels cozy. It feels safe, like the body is folding itself into a hug. And on an emotional level, I get the appeal. But physically, 3 things go wrong at once. First, your lungs are squeezed. The rib cage can't open fully. Every breath is shallower than what your body actually needs. Tidal volume drops. Blood oxygen levels dip a little with each breath, accumulating across an entire night. Second, the blood vessels passing through your hip joints and knees, particularly the popliteal vessels behind the knee, get bent and partially squeezed. Circulation flowing into and out of the lower limbs gets reduced. If you already lean towards swollen ankles or sluggish leg circulation, this position makes both of those worse. Third, your neck is bent forward. We've already discussed what that does to vertebral artery flow and jugular drainage. All those same concerns are at play here, only delivered through a full-body version of the same compression pattern. Research in respiratory physiology and neurobiology documented that prolonged spinal flexion during sleep noticeably reduces tidal volume, the amount of air pulled in with each breath. Multiply a 10% drop across every breath of an 8-hour night, and you're looking at significantly less oxygen reaching brain tissue that's already aging. If this describes you, if you curled up tonight the same way you have for 30 years, the change doesn't need to be drastic. A body pillow tucked between your knees and a slight opening of the hip angle. Tiny adjustments, real benefits. Mistake number 6, eating late and drinking alcohol close to bed. This is the one that pulls together everything we've talked about and magnifies it. And it's the most socially routine mistake on the entire list. You wrap up dinner at 7:30, maybe pour a glass of wine while watching TV, lights out by 10. That sounds like a perfectly normal evening for millions of adults over 60. Here's what's actually happening inside you while you sleep after that scenario. Following a heavy meal, your body redirects blood toward the digestive system. A big chunk of blood volume gets shifted away from your brain and heart and toward your gut. In younger bodies, this redirection is handled smoothly. In older bodies with stiffer arteries and a slower autonomic nervous system, this redirection can cause brief drops in cerebral blood flow, moments where the brain is quietly running on less than it needs. Now layer in alcohol. Alcohol is a vasodilator. It loosens and widens blood vessels. That makes your blood pressure fall. Your body picks up on it and reacts by tightening vessels and pushing pressure back up. Blood pressure bounces up, down, throughout the night. And in vessels already dealing with some plaque buildup or age-related fragility, that swinging pattern puts strain on the artery walls. The American Journal of Hypertension examined this exact pattern and found that even moderate alcohol consumption within 3 hours of bed disturb the natural overnight blood pressure dip that healthy sleepers normally enjoy. Without that dip, overnight cardiovascular strain meaningfully rises. What does this look like in everyday life? You wake up at 2 a.m., heart pounding, slightly sweaty. You assume it was a vivid dream. You tell yourself you just need a glass of water. But what you actually went through may have been your vascular system trying to steady itself through a wave of pressure swings it wasn't built to handle smoothly. The recommendation? Stop eating at least 3 hours before bed. If you're going to drink, finish the alcohol 4 to 5 hours before sleep. Take a quiet 15-minute walk after dinner. Not a workout, just gentle motion. That simple act gets digestion moving, evens out blood sugar, and gives your cardiovascular system a chance to settle before you go horizontal. The two positions your brain actually wants. Position 1, left side sleeping. This is, without a doubt, the most research-supported sleep position for cardiovascular and neurological health in adults over 60. When you sleep on your left side, gravity works in harmony with your heart's natural placement. The inferior vena cava, that vein we covered, runs along the right side of your spine. Sleeping on your left removes pressure from that vein entirely, allowing blood to return from the lower body to the heart freely and smoothly. Your heart works less, circulation steadies. But here's the breakthrough that genuinely shifted how sleep researchers think about position. Roughly a decade ago, scientists discovered a system called the glymphatic system. Think of it as the brain's overnight cleaning crew. While you sleep, cerebrospinal fluid moves through the spaces between your brain cells, flushing out metabolic waste, including beta-amyloid and tau proteins, the same proteins found in unusually high amounts in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. A landmark study in the Journal of Neuroscience found that this glymphatic clearance functions most efficiently when you sleep on your side, and the left side seems to offer slightly better drainage geometry due to the brain's natural asymmetry and the direction cerebrospinal fluid moves. That means left side sleeping isn't just about tonight's circulation. It's about whether your brain is properly clearing out the waste products that, over decades, build up into cognitive decline. If you've never been a side sleeper, use a full-length body pillow to support your front. It keeps you from rolling. Slip a pillow between your knees to keep the spine in a neutral line. Give it 7 days. Your body will adjust faster than you'd expect. Position 2. Back sleeping with a 15-degree elevation. For people who genuinely can't tolerate side sleeping, joint pain, shoulder arthritis, or just decades of back sleeping habits, there's a safe, effective alternative. Elevating your upper body between 15 and 30 degrees. Not just stacking pillows beneath your head, your entire upper torso needs to be lifted on a smooth incline. A wedge pillow does the trick. An adjustable bed frame works even better. What does this accomplish? It uses gravity to help return blood from your lower body. It cuts down on the pooling effect on intracranial pressure that flat back sleeping creates. It keeps your airway more open, which boosts oxygen delivery throughout the night. And if you tuck a small pillow beneath your knees to maintain the natural lumbar curve, you reach what sleep researchers call a zero-gravity posture, where pressure is spread across your whole body evenly, reducing strain on any single vessel or joint. This position is especially helpful if you deal with mild sleep apnea, frequent morning headaches, swollen legs, or have been told your blood pressure stays elevated even while you're asleep. Position alone isn't the full picture. Your sleep environment determines whether your cardiovascular system actually rebuilds itself or struggles through the night. Temperature. Keep your bedroom between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. A cooler space helps your core body temperature drop, the trigger for deep, restorative sleep. It also naturally lowers nighttime blood pressure. Too warm and your heart rate stays elevated, locking you into shallow sleep stages where no real cardiovascular recovery takes place. Light and screens. Blue light from phones and tablets after 9 p.m. shuts down melatonin production and pushes back your entry into deep sleep. Your brain's lymphatic system, the waste removal mechanism we covered, runs most actively during deep sleep. Disrupt that and the cleaning stops. Set the phone aside. Read a physical book instead. Noise. Sounds that don't fully wake you still break apart deep sleep through brief, invisible microarousals. Your heart rate spikes. Cortisol climbs. These moments don't register consciously, but your vascular system feels every one of them. A white noise machine or earplugs can erase this variable completely. One tracking tool worth thinking about: an overnight pulse oximeter, a small clip-on device that measures your blood oxygen across the night. If your oxygen consistently drops below 92%, that's a conversation you need to have with your doctor. It could point towards sleep apnea, circulation issues, or early respiratory problems, all of which significantly raise stroke risk. This is data your physician will genuinely want to see. Here's what I want you to walk away with from this video. Your stroke risk doesn't go off the clock when you fall asleep. In many ways, the hours between midnight and dawn are the most critical hours of your entire cardiovascular day. And the position your body holds during those hours is something you have direct, immediate, zero-cost control over. Pick one thing from today, just one. Switch to your left side tonight. Lift your head 15 degrees. Stop eating within 3 hours of bed. Trade 3 stacked pillows for 1 contoured pillow. Any single one of these isn't a small change. It's a steady, nightly intervention that compounds across weeks, months, and years. Now drop a comment below and tell me, which change are you going to put into action first? Reading your answers actually helps me understand what you're dealing with, and it might help someone else in this community spot a pattern they've been brushing off. If this video gave you something your doctor's appointment never has, please tap the like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. A spouse, a parent, a sibling over 60 who keeps waking up with mystery headaches. And subscribe right now because next week I'm covering the 5 early morning symptoms cardiologists say are far more serious than most people realize. Symptoms that show up in the first 20 minutes after waking. Symptoms often shrugged off as just aging, but that may actually be your body sending you a very specific warning. You'll want to catch that one. Until then, sleep smart, protect your brain, and take care of yourself. I'm Eric Sanat. I'll see you in the next.